Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a sneaky edition of the No Holds Barred. We're managing to squeeze this one out before 2020 comes to an end. I am joined right now by representatives of the management of Deathmatch Downunder. We of course have Jay and Erin here. Thank you very much for joining me both.
Absolutely, our pleasure.
Yeah. I was going to say, and obviously we've actually had quite a busy day here today at the Royal Mail on Spencer. We've been filming all kinds of segments and getting lots of B-roll footage for the launch of Deathmatch Downunder. I imagine for you two this has been an accumulation of a lot of effort and just biding your time.
Wow, it's been
it's been a long time coming, but the outcome, that, as we see it, is worth the effort that we put in.
Yeah, if anything, I think the break that we had through COVID has really given us time to make sure we're doing things right and prepare ourselves for what we want to be a really great product for everyone. So we're feeling pretty good today.
Yeah, good. It's interesting because I was speaking to some of the other members of management who are your secret Illuminati who aren't here today, and I think they.
Talking about that,
He runs the show and he just don't want to say it.
But obviously, I asked them about, COVID. Has it had an impact? Were you frustrated that maybe you were launching later than you hoped to? And actually, it seemed like you had the opposite. That it just made everyone just stop, take note of everything, and really prepare yourselves for this big launch.
Yeah.
I think we were sort of preparing to go in April or May, and I think if we'd done that, I think probably wouldn't be the quality product that we're aiming for, and that would have been a bit of a misstep. Mm-hmm. So the fact of what happened is a bit of a blessing in disguise, wasn't it? That we were able to sit there and take a breath and just go, okay, what do we want to get done, and how can we do it right?
Fantastic. I think first question, this isn't actually the first question, this has just been rambling so far. I think the first question I'll ask is, how did this come about? Who approached who?
You want to start? You were there first.
Well, are you doing this without revealing the names of your secret Illuminati?
No. No, I've been in the music scene for a good number of years, and my band that I was in...
Yard Duty?
Yes, correct.
I did some research!
Yes, well done. It's like you're on Hot Ones. And so Yard Duty played the amazing Russell Rock event last year in May. And from that, I made a few friendships, and a couple of people approached me and said, hey, given our experience, do you want to do something moving forward? And I said, okay, well, if we're going to do it, we're going to do it right. And we discussed a whole bunch of things. Erin came in. Erin's been fantastic in regards to that sort of stuff. And enabling us to put forward the best product that we can and what we want to see out of wrestling. And if there's anything this year's taught us, it's that we need to see the best out of Australian wrestling, or world wrestling, to be honest.
Yeah.
Seems like I'm a little bit of a fan.
Yeah.
Little fan fly. The guys approached me about it, and I was really skeptical at first because I've always just been involved as a fan or a journalist, and really was comfortable in that space. But I think a lot of things that happened this year, COVID, speaking out in particular, really prompted me to step up a bit and kind of fill that space where, we were really keen on change, and I think all the guys, I can speak for them as well, are really keen on change, and this is how we were going to do it. So the vision was there for me, and I was like, this is something I want to be a part of, this is something I want to contribute to and share my knowledge in. And the team is so skilled in so many different ways, but I think the thing that makes us really special is that there's such a variety that we can always come together on something, and we can always discuss and have those hard conversations about where we want to be as a culture within our team, but also as a product and what we want to offer our talent and the community broadly. So it's been really great to grow with these guys and to be more involved in the scene in a way that I really never thought I would. So.
Now, obviously, come January, there will be your first show with a ring in it, because obviously previously back in March you had a no-ring deathmatch show, and the question I wanted to ask, at that point in time, was there always a plan for this to become a full-fledged promotion, or is this a case of, this is just a one-off show, let's see what happens?
It was never going to be a one-off show.
I know we almost had a second show actually right here as well.
We did.
Unfortunately, due to COVID, that couldn't happen, which is a real shame. I was really looking forward to that.
Yeah, that was going to be a really fun event. No, there was absolutely, that was the beginnings. That was us. That's why we named the whole thing Deathmatch Downunder. That was the towing the water, and the water was kind of warm, so we're going swimming. To kind of go on top of the simile too far, I kind of laid the point there. So, but yeah, there was always a plan to go further from what it was, and that's why the voice of the first Deathmatch Downunder was maybe so different to the voice of Deathmatch Downunder now going forward. Was because we didn't have the plan in place as we do now. And that was a case of, when you're doing no ring, there's a lot of different ideas in place and a lot of different thoughts in place as to when you're actually doing stuff in the ring. I mean, you of all people know that. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun. It's been hard at times. June and July were hard months in the wrestling community, and sitting back and seeing so many people affected was heartbreaking. It was unsurprising, and we're hoping that we can be part of Australian wrestling going forward, being a better place and a more open and safe place for everyone.
And I do want to talk about that a little bit later. But one question I want to know, because I think there's been a lot of questions from people about what the nature of the shows are going to be like. It's called Deathmatch Downunder, so is it literally going to be wall-to-wall deathmatch from the opening bell all the way to the curtains closing right at the end? Is it all going to be blood and guts all the way through?
So we'll have our deathmatch division and we'll have our heavyweight division as well. We've also got a tag division, but our pillars that we exist on, we want to elevate the art form of deathmatch wrestling to what it is. We all in the team really strongly believe that it's an outlet that we can really express our extreme wrestling through in a safe and, in a way that's going to exhibit the talent that we have on our roster. We've also got our heavyweight division, which is really inspired by, the big hitters in the scene that we have here, with so many influences, Japanese wrestling, strong style influences. There's a whole lot going on there. I think we just really want to hone in on those two styles and use that to elevate the talent that we have in this country and make wrestling enjoyable for everyone in that space.
You always say great again.
I know, I did. Scrap that
No,
part.
scrap that. That has been ruined for everybody.
Yeah, let's just delete
The problem
that.
is it's actually a really good slogan.
I know. Well, it's the words, right? The words make sense.
We're going to make wrestling better.
Now
We're going to make it tolerable for
Tolerable for people to actually come to shows. Because I wanted to ask that about whether it's going to be deathmatch. So it's not going to be literally, every match isn't going to literally be a deathmatch. So you've got your tag team division, you've got your heavyweight division, and can I say, I did see your belts upstairs.
You got a sneak peek.
Wow, they were beautiful, I have to say. And I like the idea.
Who am I firing?
Oh! I just saw something wrapped up in sort of like carpet. I thought, I know what that is, and I had a quick geeky look. But
They're lovely, aren't they?
I was tempted to switch one out for like a replica toy IC belt, but I thought, I might not get away with it.
I would have noticed the heaviness. They're very heavy.
Yeah, they're really heavy. Yeah.
I do like a good heavy belt. Nothing says legit than a heavy belt in my opinion. But I was going to say, I was like looking, and obviously I asked about whether it was all going to be death matches, because I looked at the roster. Very wide range of people. You've obviously got people who are very experienced in this sort of hardcore deathmatch style. The likes of Dixon, for example, being an obvious one. Joel Bateman, for example. I'm sure Mad Dog is working on the outside somewhere. But obviously you also have these big heavyweight hitters like Caveman Ugg, and you've obviously got people who are still relatively newish to it. I'm thinking of people like Tyson Baxter, for example. And so, but have you received a lot of feedback from your talent who have shown an interest in deathmatch wrestling who you were surprised to actually get that initial interest from?
No.
I was checking because
Not that we can reveal.
That's fair. No, I don't. I want names, I want places.
I'm not giving you names, I'm not giving you places, but I will say no.
I think what we're aiming for, really broadly is, yes, we've got these two stylistic divisions, but at the same time, we're not doing a women's title, we're not doing a men's title, and we're looking at fluidity from a variety of perspectives, be that through gender, be that through style. We want a real hybrid product that people can get a lot out of. In one match, you'll see a whole variety of influences, which is really is a great summary of the Australian scene. There's so many influences that we really want to capture in his product. So.
Yeah, we're also not going to be shoehorning people into death matches and stuff like that, because that's really inappropriate as well.
Yeah.
We're not going to suddenly get someone who's 45 kilos soaking wet and put them up against Caveman Ugg in a barbed wire board match or something like that.
That's so much fun, though.
Yeah, massively, it is fun, but it's not necessarily fair.
One thing I did like is before you launched the launch trailer, you had a lovely countdown on your website, and I imagine that the countdown was that you, Erin?
No, sorry, we have a little inside joke about the countdown.
Okay, we won't talk. Okay, no, I've got to ask about the inside joke on the countdown.
It stopped working one day.
It stopped working, and we panicked.
It stopped working in the middle of the production meeting. It stopped working, and
nothing grinds a production meeting to an absolute halt. Like the timer has stopped.
Yeah, the one thing that we're actually doing at the moment, it stopped working. I'm responsible for the website, and so I went and the one that we had was broken, so I had to fix that, and I brought in one that looked like an airport destination board.
So we all gave Jay a hard time because
I've been ripped pretty hard on that.
We all just make airplane noises every now and then. Just get really upset.
Almost as good as caveman noises.
Yeah. But on that, I will say that website is impeccable. Like, I can't put it over enough on how good that website is.
It's
at least you've got an anti-bullying policy in place, so you can report on it.
Yeah.
That's what it's there for.
That's what it's there for.
Bullying Jay about
They wouldn't stop making airplane noises.
Not the worst thing that's happened to me.
That's true, I was going to say. Not the worst thing that's happened to me in the best thing this season, I can tell you that for sure.
And if that's the worst thing that's going to happen at Deathmatch Downunder,
you've done pretty well.
That's pretty much what we're aiming for.
That's pretty good, it's pretty good. I was going to say, so obviously back to the timer, obviously that timer was literally counting down to when you launched this trailer. And I bet you were all, chomping at the nails because you were about to announce this full-time, full-fledged deathmatch promotion. Were you worried? What if the Australian wrestling community and its fans were to, not be impressed and worse, outright reject the concept? I mean, did that cross your minds at all?
Yeah, I think we were prepared for it. We were definitely prepared. Yeah, we knew there would be backlash. But that being said, I think we really believe in the art form and we know that we're doing it the right way. Like, we're really, our bullying policy and our wellness policies, I think they stand strong and we're always developing them as we go along. This is a learning process for all of us. But yeah, things like blood testing are really important to our ethos and our processes. So we don't plan to do this in a half-assed way. Like, we're going to make sure that it's done properly and, the respect for our talent is number one. Like, we've got to make sure we protect people who work for us. But yeah, we were prepared. I think we knew there was going to be some doubters, but we were kind of about the scene.
I think we put in, sorry to talk over you, I think we put in enough work to back ourselves with regards to it. Where if it came out and if there were detractors, we had enough pins in place to go back at that and to showcase what we're going to be doing that's different.
Yep. Because you're going to have therapists at the show, and you've effectively protected the athletes incredibly well from what I've read. So it seems like that, I imagine to some deathmatch is a dirty word, but actually if you take out the word deathmatch and look at it as a wrestling promotion, it seems like you've taken a lot of learnings from the past year that has obviously happened in the wrestling industry globally, and you've really applied it to this promotion to make sure that it's safe, it's conscious, it's ethical, not only for the wrestlers but the fans themselves.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, what's the point of going to a show if people aren't safe? Yeah. Honestly, we've got an incredible head of our talent wellness program, Louise Rossi, and she's fantastic. She came to us with the idea of her taking that role. We discussed it for a long time with her in the things that we wanted to make sure that our athletes were safe. She wanted to make sure because they're athletes.
Yeah.
They're athletes, and for years they've not been treated as such. And so for us, it's about treating them with the respect that they are due because of the amount of work, the amount of training that they put in to being that amazing in the ring. It was very important to us to make sure that they were safe. So
it takes its toll. Like, it takes its toll, and we see that in the people we've been working with. And I think there's so many facets. There's physical health, but there's emotional health, there's emotional trauma, things that we're all thinking about, ahead of time, and we're considering how do we protect not only our workers but our fans. I mean, I guess obviously from my point of view, I'm thinking a lot about fan perspective, whereas these guys are very good at covering the talent point of view. But we're just trying to cover all our bases, and it's going to be a learning process. Like, things will come up that we might not have considered, or things that need work, and we're prepared to do that work.
Yep. We're transparent.
Yeah.
People have issues, or they have questions, or things that they want to raise. We encourage them to contact us so that we can work with them to make sure that it's the right place for them.
Excellent. One thing I wanted to quickly touch on, because obviously you mentioned earlier there is no women's championship. This is a genderless promotion. And actually it was interesting, whilst we were sort of talking to the wrestlers and sort of preparing and filming, it was actually kind of refreshing to be cautious of the terminology that we want to use to describe this. At the end of the day, wrestlers.
Athletes.
Everyone is wrestlers, everyone is athletes. And obviously Deathmatch Downunder isn't necessarily the first promotion to obviously allow sort of elimination of the gender border, so to speak. Why did you feel it was so important to introduce it to Deathmatch Downunder? And Erin, I know that you've done a lot of work for your Bronco Busters podcast to really talk about the stories of, say, obviously the women, female wrestlers, and obviously people as part of the LGBT sort of community. Was this very important for you?
Hugely. I feel like this was probably the main draw for me, to be honest. So I'm a queer woman, and that for me means that sometimes wrestling doesn't feel like a safe place for me sometimes, at a standard show, like I might not feel comfortable with the crowd or behind the scenes or whatever, so it was really important for me, and the people around me are all around it too, is to make sure that people like me, or people who identify outside of societal norms of gender, can find their place in the scene, whether they're a fan, whether they're a worker. But I think we're really just keen on pushing the idea that it doesn't matter who you are, if you can work and if you have the passion for it, then we want to work with you. That's what we're all about. And we want to give opportunities to people who haven't had opportunities in the past. Wrestling historically has been very exclusive to a certain type of person, right? So we want to make sure that we can break that down for our workers, but also for our fans who are watching, and they can see someone like themselves in the crowd, in the ring even, and be like, that's cool. There's someone who looks like me, or there's someone who identifies the same way as me, and that's a narrative at the end of the day. It's like why we all love wrestling. We see a story that we are invested in, or we have a character that we identify with, and we go, oh, cool, okay, I could be that person, or that, it hits you, and we just want to create that for as many people as possible.
Yeah, I've got a non-binary offspring, and they love going to wrestling shows. But they don't have anyone that they identify with in current promotions. And so for me it was important to allow that to happen, to have that kind of opportunity available where my offspring can look at what we're doing and say, hey, that person represents me, or they have the ability to have a person like me on their roster. It was really important to me as well.
I think on that as well, we want to create a neutral playing field for people. We've come in and we've said we don't have gender divisions, right? This is a clean slate for you to work on. And if that means, say for example, a woman comes in and wants to work with, without the restraint of I'm a women's wrestler, both, that's cool. But if a woman comes in and she says, I'm a women's wrestler and I'm really proud of that and I want that to be a part of my story, hell yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of reasons to be proud of being a female wrestler.
Yeah, totally.
There's been plenty of work in this country over the last few years with regards to that. So if that's something that you want to be as part of your character, then that's fine. That's absolutely fine. We're not restrictive.
Tell your own story.
That's a very interesting point you brought up, because I think it's fair to say in the last few years, for female wrestlers in this country, it's been an incredibly successful time. So many of them have gone on to WWE, NXT, NXT UK. So I do respect the idea that you don't want to restrict them if this is the label they want to work under, then fair enough. But I do think it's interesting. Obviously, I know that several promotions have specific women's divisions, and I imagine that one of the downsides of that is that there are only so many female wrestlers in Melbourne, for example. So obviously, allowing them to all be wrestlers means that there's just more opportunity for a wider range of matches.
Yeah, you don't have the same matches across promotions as well.
But that benefits men too in the company. It benefits non-binary people. They can come in and they can see that clean slate and they can identify however they want to. You know, we don't have to have men, women, right? This is your place, this is, or it doesn't have to be, everyone's the same. Everyone can express themselves the way that they want to, regardless.
It's your art, you express it the way that you need to. And that's where the transparency comes from. Sorry to talk.
No, it's all right. I'm just like you. I also talk.
But that's where the transparency comes from. We're open book, it's a clean slate, it's time to make wrestling correct. Or make wrestling right and safe.
Yeah.
And thank you. It's a little bit, maybe I'm being overawing it a little bit, but it's so important to us that we have that ability to be able to say, we're starting from the ground up. There's no history with regards to what we're doing. We have the ability to say, you want to do this? That's your thing. Do it.
Yeah, one match I stumbled on online, Richie Taylor taking on Erin Reed. It was a good match. It was a hard-hitting match.
Some incredible workers right there.
Absolutely, and actually it's a match I haven't seen before. It's a match that with some of the promotions that I work with currently, I wouldn't necessarily see. And obviously at your first debut show, you've got Richie Taylor taking on one of the top female wrestlers in the country, Shazza McKenzie.
She's one of the top wrestlers in the country, Andy. It's not a slap on the wrist. She's literally one of the best wrestlers in this country.
And I know she's going to send me a DM later.
She absolutely is. And I can't wait for those two to go at it. Fantastic wrestlers, both of them. They're going to put on a show, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's going to be great. I'm excited.
One thing I really liked about the website is the very strong acknowledgement of the traditional Indigenous owners. In fact, you go to the website, it literally is front and centre. It's a very proud part of your identity. And I was going to ask, what is the thought process behind that? And I think there's an obvious answer, but I also want to know why it became such a strong component of Deathmatch Downunder's identity.
Well, I think the first thing to acknowledge in that is that we realise that this is all maybe new for people, particularly maybe in wrestling. Things haven't been done this way before, maybe, and it can be different. It can be jarring to see things like that on our website. It's pretty, as you said, it's the first thing you see. But that's what we're about. Like, our whole thing is that we want to do this as like a punk community. We want to make sure that people who are maybe on the outer in general society feel like they're welcome in our spaces. And on the acknowledging traditional owners, it's pretty critical to all of our work that we acknowledge we're on stolen land. And we plan to do everything we can to engage with local traditional owners on our shows. Acknowledgement of country will be commonplace at all of our shows and all of our boards.
It's been good to see a couple of promotions around Australia actually do that
It
as well.
has, yeah.
David Storm.
I was going to say DMDU.
Yeah,
Did
fantastic to see.
the Welcome to Country at the beginning of their shows, and I was going to say, because it's not something that is necessarily publicly known, but obviously being the MCW ring announcer, I know that the show...
I don't recognise you without a jacket. Batman's got to take off his cape sometimes, I suppose.
No, but I was going to say, as the MCW ring announcer, we were going to introduce Welcome to Country as well at the last show that sadly got cancelled.
Yeah.
So there has been that movement for other promotions as well.
That's really good.
But I think, and they deserve that credit. But I also think at the same time, for you to I think boldly is a fair word to actually put that forward. It seems like, would it be fair to say that Deathmatch Downunder also has a kind of a sort of a social conscience about what it wants to? Because on the website you've obviously support Black Lives Matter as well. There's obviously a lot of support for the LGBTQI plus community as well.
Yeah.
And I was going to say I applaud you for it. I imagine though that there might have been some reservation perhaps? No?
I think that's what I was saying earlier, is that we've had difficult conversations for months now within our team, and those are all a part of our collective growth and healing.
Yeah, that was actually one of the acknowledgement of country was literally when we sat down for the first production meeting. This is going to be front and centre. So yeah, these are really important. I never had any reservations about it.
Yeah.
I think if it's true and genuine to who you are and who you're trying to portray yourself to be.
It's not even a question.
No, it's not. Yeah. Because, and it goes back to what I was saying about transparency. It's genuine, it's from us. It's important to us. So, yeah.
And I don't think we're here for the credit either. We're not doing it because we want the good marks for doing the right thing. We're doing it because we want to make the scene more welcoming and safe. Like we've said it 1,000 times over, but we really need it at our core. It's the only reason we're here, to be honest. Like,
and if that means that another promotion takes on acknowledgement of country at the start of their shows, fantastic.
That's what we want. We're
here to make Australian wrestling better.
Yeah.
That everything that we do, we sit down. The first thing is, how is this going to make Australian wrestling better? And ultimately, that's the most important thing to us.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay, I want to throw a bit of a curveball question at you both. I think the response to this promotion has been very positive. Earlier, I was obviously asking about, were you concerned about any kind of backlash? There has been some, and I think there have been one or two people who have criticised the idea of death matches having its own promotion. And some people even go as far as to say that it will be a detriment to the Australian wrestling scene. You've given us some reasons in this interview why that isn't the case. But I'd love to hear what you would say if that person was here right now and said that Deathmatch Downunder does not belong in our Australian wrestling scene.
I don't know. I saw a few of those comments and stuff like that, but I mean, there's always going to be detractors in regards to that sort of thing. I think that deathmatch wrestling is an incredible art form. It's beautiful. It's empowering, and I think that it definitely has its place in the art scene in the same way that, you know, so many people went to change music in the 50s, and so many people went and changed arts throughout the artistic renaissance and things like that. You've got to have people who are willing to not worry so much about their detractors, but to push forward. I'm not interested in staying in the past. I'm interested in pushing, and I don't know, I'm speaking for you as well, I'm sorry, but
we always are on the same wavelength. That's why we're working together.
We're always here for moving forward.
Yeah.
And if deathmatch doesn't have a place on the scene, we'll die in the arse. Deathmatch does have a place in the scene. It has a place in Australian wrestling, it has a place in wrestling all around the world. There's so many promotions doing it, and it's beautiful and amazing, and you've just got to give it a chance. And that's just the deathmatch stuff. The rest of the stuff's awesome as well, you know?
Yeah, I think something that's been key to everything we've faced since launch has been, we're not about dwelling on the negativity. Like, we know that people might not like it at first, or they might not understand why
we actually had this chat online not that long ago about the importance of that.
It's totally unhelpful, like, for us to say, oh, this one person thinks that deathmatch doesn't belong in this country. Well, a lot of people think it does, and a lot of people will prove that it does. We know that for a fact, looking at our roster. People will prove that it belongs. But we've got a whole other array.
It's a stacked roster right there.
It's a stacked roster.
Stacked roster.
But we have a whole variety of people who will do that belongs.
Absolutely.
Totally. Unique people from all over Victoria at the moment, and you know, that's only going to grow. And we're just here to showcase the best that the country has to offer. It doesn't matter what company you've been with in the past, or if you want to continue growing in the scene elsewhere. We just want to be a part of that. We want to work with you. We're not here to do the old way. We're here to do it new.
Yeah. Wrestling needs to be better. Yeah. Wrestling's going to be better.
Excellent. Yeah. So, quick question then. Is this just going to be a Melbourne thing? Are there any plans to possibly expand outside of the boundaries of Victoria?
We'll see what Dan says, I guess. It'll all depend on what Dan says. But
Mr. Dan Andrews?
Yeah, Dan Andrews.
We've got plans.
Yeah.
We've always got plans.
Yeah.
Some of them are far-fetched. And some of them, Erin has to edit me down and say, hey, we can't do that. No chance of going and doing it. Well, I was thinking Antarctica.
Yeah.
I was thinking Antarctica and get some penguins in the deathmatch, but I don't think that's a good idea.
Penguins are delicious bastards.
They really are.
There will be no harm to
It
people.
would
They will kill us.
actually give us an opportunity to feed some of the criminally underfed polar bears down there as well, but not people, like actually feed them. But
I
that
don't know,
being said,
Gore
like,
does look particularly tasty.
yeah, absolutely. he
He's
does it.
terrifying.
Yeah, he's got a lot of bristle though. I don't know. We're going from show to show, and we're going to grow from show to show, and hopefully we can bring this product to anyone who wants to see it in Australia. There's plans afoot. There's always plans afoot.
Right, final question. I want to get this right. Okay, Erin, are you #deathmatch ready?
I mean, yeah.
Well, not in the literal sense.
I'm not going to be fighting anytime soon, that's for sure. But
Do you want me to show that photo of you with the barbed wire bat?
you can do that. Me just having. No, I'm deathmatch ready. I've been ready for a while, but it's today.
Jed, are you #deathmatch ready?
I am deathmatch ready. I've been deathmatch ready for years, and it's time to show the world how Australia can be deathmatch ready.
Fantastic. Well, on that note, to proud beginnings. All the best of luck
Thanks,
to
Andy.
you both,
Thanks
and of
very
course to the wider team as well. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the No Holds Barred, which means I get to have a drink on camera. Fantastic. We will of course see you January 16th. And no, that's not your sponsor. You can't quote it.
Oh, okay.
We will see you at Arrow on Swanston, and of course, what's the name of the show? And Here Come the
Out Come the
Wolves.
Wolves.
Out Come the Wolves. Best name ever. We'll see you soon.